A young man once asked a hidden Sufi, "How do I know Allah is preparing a soul for higher rank?" The Sufi did not say, "You will see light." He did not say, "People will honor you." He said, "The first sign is strange. Allah makes you disappear." The young man said, "Disappear?" The Sufi said, "Yes. He hides you from people before he reveals you to himself. He lets them misunderstand you, leave you, forget you, and misread your silence, because the soul that still begs to be seen by creation is not ready to carry a secret from the Creator. So if you feel hidden, do not panic. Maybe you are not being rejected. Maybe Allah is protecting the rank He has not shown anyone yet. Lesson 1. The first sign is not light, it is being hidden. The first sign that Allah may be preparing a soul for a higher rank is not always joy, beauty, success, or light. Sometimes the first sign is being hidden. You begin to feel unseen, you begin to feel removed from the noise. People stop noticing you the way they once did. Doors become quiet, friends become distant. Your name is not mentioned in the rooms you thought you belonged to. And inside your heart, a question begins to rise. Why does it feel like Allah is hiding me? But listen carefully. Not everything hidden is rejected. Some things are hidden because they are being protected. A seed is hidden under the soil before it becomes a tree. A pearl is hidden inside the shell before it is found. Gold is hidden inside the earth before it is purified. And sometimes a soul is hidden from people before Allah raises it before Him. This hidden stage is not punishment, it is preparation. Allah hides you from people so your heart can stop living for people. Because if a servant is raised while he still needs praise, the praise may poison him. If he is given attention while his heart is still weak, the attention may destroy his sincerity. If people begin to honor him before Allah purifies him, he may start loving the honor more than the one who gave it. So Allah hides him. He places him in silence. He removes the crowd. He lets him feel what it means to be unseen, not because Allah does not see him, but because Allah wants him to know that being seen by Allah is enough. This is one of the hardest lessons for the heart, because the heart wants someone to understand. The heart wants someone to say, "I see your pain." The heart wants someone to notice your effort, your patience, your tears, your goodness. But Allah teaches His special servants a deeper truth. If no one sees your tears, Allah sees them. If no one understands your silence, Allah understands it. If no one values your patience, Allah records it. If no one mentions your name, Allah has not forgotten you. In this hidden stage, you may feel lonely, but you are not abandoned. You may feel delayed, but you are not denied. You may feel buried, but you are being planted. The hidden place is where Allah trains the soul. It is where the servant learns to pray without showing anyone, to do good without needing thanks, to stay kind without being praised, to remain patient without being applauded, to keep faith when no one is clapping for him. This is where the ego begins to weaken. This is where sincerity begins to grow. This is where the servant stops asking, "Do people see me?" and begins asking, "Is Allah pleased with me?" That is the beginning of real elevation, because a soul cannot be raised while it is still chained to the eyes of people. So if Allah has hidden you, do not panic. Do not rush to prove yourself. Do not force people to notice you. Do not think your quiet season is wasted. Allah may be doing His deepest work in the place where no one can see, and when the time comes, He will reveal what He was building inside you. But first, He hides you, because hiddenness is not the end of your story. It is the first door of your rising. Lesson 2. Allah removes the ones who could not enter your next rank. Sometimes the first pain before elevation is not the test itself. It is the people Allah removes through the test. You thought they were part of your journey. You thought they would walk with you until the end. You thought their love was real, their loyalty was strong, and their place in your life was permanent. Then something changed. Their words became cold, their support disappeared. Their face remained the same, but their heart felt far. And you kept asking yourself, why did Allah let them leave me at the time I needed them most? But listen carefully. Some people are only allowed to walk with you until a certain door. They can share your old season, but they cannot enter your next rank. They can know the old version of you, but they cannot honor the soul Allah is now raising inside you. This is why Allah sometimes removes people before He raises you. Not because you are better than them, not because you should hate them, not because you should look down on them, but because your next stage requires a different kind of peace, a different kind of silence, a different kind of heart around you. Some people were connected to your wounds, not your healing. Some people loved your weakness because it made them feel strong. Some people liked you when you were unsure, broken, and easy to control. But the moment Allah began to wake your soul, they became uncomfortable. They did not hate you because you changed. They hated that they could no longer use the old version of you. This is one of the hidden signs of spiritual elevation. Allah begins to separate you from people who secretly feed your old self, people who keep pulling you back into fear, people who remind you of your past more than your purpose, people who enjoy your pain but become silent when Allah starts healing you. At first, their removal feels like betrayal, but later you realize it was protection. At first you cry because they left. Later you thank Allah because they could not stay, because if they had stayed, they may have kept you small, they may have kept your heart busy. They may have kept your soul tied to approval, arguments, confusion, and emotional hunger. And Allah wanted your heart free. My dear listener, not everyone who leaves you is an enemy. Some people leave because their role is finished. Some people leave because their presence would damage your future. Some people leave because Allah heard conversations you never heard. Some people leave because Allah saw intentions you could not see. Some people leave because your soul was about to rise, and they were only attached to your lower state. So do not chase every person Allah removes. Do not reopen every door Allah closed. Do not keep asking why someone changed when Allah already showed you the answer through their actions. A heart that is being raised must learn the difference between love and attachment. Love makes you kind. Attachment makes you a prisoner. Love allows you to pray for people. Attachment makes you beg them to stay, even when they keep hurting your soul. Allah removes people so you can return to Him without leaning on broken walls, because some people were never your support. They were your test. Some people were never your home. They were your lesson. Some people were never sent to complete you. They were sent to reveal how deeply you needed Allah. And when Allah wants to raise a servant, He removes every false hand the servant mistook for divine mercy. He teaches you that people may leave, but He remains. People may misunderstand, but He knows. People may turn cold, but He never abandons the one who returns to Him. So if someone left your life while your soul was changing, do not break yourself trying to pull them back. Ask Allah for a clean heart. Ask Allah to remove bitterness. Ask Allah to help you forgive without returning to what harmed you. Because sometimes the door closed behind them was the same door Allah used to protect your rank. And one day you will understand. They were not removed to destroy you. They were removed because they could not enter the place Allah was taking you. Lesson 3. Your soul becomes restless because your old life is expired. There comes a time when your old life still exists around you, but it no longer feels like home inside you. The same people are there, the same places are there, the same habits are there, the same conversations are there, but something inside your heart has changed. What once excited you now feels empty. What once entertained you now feels heavy. What once pulled you in now pushes your soul away. And you begin to wonder, why do I feel so restless? Why does nothing satisfy me anymore? Why does my heart feel like it is standing between two worlds? Listen carefully. Sometimes restlessness is not confusion. Sometimes it is a sign that Allah has expired an old season in your life. Your soul is not becoming weak, it is becoming awake. Allah is making your heart uncomfortable with the life that can no longer carry your next rank. This is one of the hidden stages before elevation. Before Allah raises a servant, He often makes the old world lose its sweetness. The old distractions stop working. The old friendships feel shallow. The old habits feel tight. The old sins feel heavier than before. The old dreams no longer look as beautiful. Not because life has become meaningless, but because Allah is pulling meaning from places where you were never meant to stay. This is why the heart becomes restless. It has tasted something deeper, even if it cannot explain it. It wants nearness. It wants truth. It wants purity. It wants Allah. But the old life keeps offering noise. The old life says, come back, be the same, laugh at the same things, chase the same people, fear the same opinions, live for the same praise. But your soul cannot return fully anymore. Something inside you knows, I was not created only for this. This is a painful feeling, because you may not know where Allah is taking you yet, but you know where you can no longer remain. That is why this stage feels strange. You are not fully out of the old life, and you are not fully settled into the new one. You are between, and the between place can feel lonely. But do not fear it. Many souls are lost because they keep forcing themselves to stay in a season Allah has already ended. They try to enjoy what no longer feeds them. They try to fit where Allah has outgrown them. They try to return to people, habits and places that keep pulling their heart away from Allah. But the soul that Allah is raising cannot stay comfortable in darkness. It may fall, it may struggle, it may feel weak, but it can no longer love the distance from Allah the way it once did. This is a mercy. When sin becomes heavy, that is mercy. When empty talk begins to hurt your heart, that is mercy. When bad company no longer feels peaceful, that is mercy. When your soul becomes tired of pretending, that is mercy. Allah is not making you restless to torture you. He is making you restless so you will move. He is making the cage uncomfortable so you stop calling it home. He is making the old road narrow so you begin looking for the path back to Him. My dear listener, do not mistake this restlessness for failure. It may be guidance. It may be Allah turning your heart away from what cannot enter your next stage, because every elevation requires a leaving. You cannot rise while holding tightly to the life Allah is asking you to release. You cannot enter a higher station while still enjoying everything that kept your heart low. You cannot ask Allah for closeness and still keep feeding the habits that make you forget Him. So when your soul becomes restless, ask yourself gently, what is Allah making me tired of? What no longer gives peace? What keeps pulling me back into my old self? What am I afraid to leave because I do not know what comes next? Do not answer with fear. Answer with honesty. Because the restless heart is often a heart being called. Allah is calling it away from noise, away from false comfort, away from people who only know its old name, away from desires that make the soul heavy, away from a life that looks familiar but no longer carries divine peace. And when Allah calls a heart, the heart may tremble before it understands. It may feel pain before it feels clarity. It may feel alone before it feels guided. But if it follows Allah, it will one day understand why nothing old could satisfy it anymore. It was not emptiness. It was awakening. It was not sadness. It was separation from illusion. It was not the end. It was the soul realizing that its real home was never in people, praise, comfort, or noise. Its real home was always with Allah. So if your old life feels too small for your soul, do not run back just because it is familiar. Let Allah lead you. Let Him remove the sweetness from what was harming you. Let Him make your heart restless until it finds rest in Him. Because sometimes The soul becomes uncomfortable, not because it is lost, but because Allah is preparing it to rise. Lesson 4. Allah lets them misread you, to kill your need for approval. One of the hardest stages before Allah raises a soul is being misunderstood by people you wanted to understand you, not strangers. Strangers are easy to ignore, but people close to you, people who saw your tears, people who knew your struggle, people who once heard your heart, people you thought would defend you, then suddenly they misread you. They call your silence pride, they call your distance arrogance, they call your healing coldness, they call your boundaries disrespect, they call your patience weakness, they call your change betrayal. And inside your heart, something hurts deeply, not only because they spoke wrongly, but because a part of you still wanted them to see you correctly. You wanted them to say, "We understand. We know your heart. We know you are not what they think." But Allah may allow this moment for a reason. He may let them misread you so He can free you from needing them to read you at all. This is a hidden test, because many people can be patient with pain, but they cannot be patient with being misunderstood. They can lose money, they can lose comfort, they can lose opportunities. But when their name is touched, when their intention is questioned, when their silence is given a false meaning, their heart begins to burn. Why? Because the ego wants to be protected. The ego wants a clean image. The ego wants every person to know, "I am good, I am innocent, I am sincere." I am not like that. But the path of Allah's close servants is deeper than image. Allah does not only purify your actions, He purifies your need to be seen as pure. This is very subtle. You may be doing the right thing, but still be attached to people knowing you are doing the right thing. You may be patient, but still waiting for people to recognize your patience. You may forgive, but still wanting someone to announce how much you forgave. You may remain silent, but inside you are burning because people do not know the full story. So Allah allows misunderstanding, not to humiliate you, to detach you. He teaches you that your truth does not die because someone failed to see it. He teaches you that your sincerity is not destroyed because someone doubted it. He teaches you that your heart does not become dirty because someone threw dirt at your name. He teaches you that you do not need every tongue to defend you when Allah knows what happened. This is where the servant begins to mature. Before this stage, he says, "I need them to know." After this stage, he says, "Allah knows." Before this stage, he says, "I must explain myself." After this stage, he says, "If Allah wants to reveal the truth, He will." Before this stage, he says, "Their opinion is hurting me." After this stage, he says, "Their opinion is not my Lord." This is not easy. Do not think this lesson is small. Being misunderstood can feel like a knife in the heart. Especially when you had no bad intention, especially when you stayed silent to avoid hurting anyone, especially when you were trying to heal, especially when you walked away because your heart could not survive that place anymore. And still, they created a story about you. They filled your silence with their own suspicion. They explained your distance with their own ego. They turned your pain into a rumor. They turned your growth into an accusation. And now you are tempted to defend yourself. You want to tell every detail. You want to show proof. You want to expose what they did first. You want people to know that you were not wrong. But listen carefully. There are moments when defending yourself is wisdom, and there are moments when silence is the higher test. Not every accusation deserves your energy. Not every misunderstanding deserves your voice. Not every person asking for an explanation is asking with a clean heart. Some people do not want truth. They want reaction. Some people do not want clarity. They want control. Some people do not want to understand you. They want to pull you back into the old version of yourself. And if you keep explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, you will lose the peace Allah was trying to give you. This is why Allah lets some people misread you. He is teaching you to stop placing your soul in the court of public opinion. He is teaching you to stop making people the judges of your worth. He is teaching you to stop begging for a clean name from people whose own hearts are not clean toward you. My dear listener, the one Allah is raising must learn how to stand before Allah, even when people stand against him. The close servant must learn how to be truthful without needing applause. He must learn how to be innocent without needing the whole world to declare him innocent. He must learn how to walk away without becoming bitter. He must learn how to be accused without becoming ugly. He must learn how to let Allah be his witness. This is a high station, because when someone misreads you, the lower self wants revenge. It says, expose them. It says, tell everyone. It says, do not let them win. It says, make them feel what they made you feel. But the heart, being trained by Allah, hears another call. It hears, stay clean. It hears, do not become like what hurt you. It hears, do not trade your peace for their noise. It hears, let Allah handle what your hands cannot. This does not mean you allow abuse. This does not mean you accept injustice. This does not mean you have no boundaries. A believer is not asked to become a doormat. But there is a difference between seeking justice with dignity and feeding the ego with revenge. There is a difference between speaking truth when needed and constantly defending your image because you cannot bear being misjudged. Allah is teaching you that difference. He is making your soul stronger than the need to be liked. He is making your heart cleaner than the need to be praised. He is making your silence more powerful than your reaction. Sometimes Allah will let people say the wrong thing about you just to show you what still controls you. If their words can pull you away from Allah, then their words still own a part of your heart. If their opinion can destroy your peace, then their opinion has become too large inside you. If their misunderstanding can make you abandon your character, then Allah is showing you where you still need healing. This is not to shame you, it is to free you. Because the soul cannot rise while it is chained to the need for approval. The soul cannot become close to Allah while it trembles before every human opinion. The soul cannot carry divine trust while it is still begging people to say, you are good. Allah wants you to be good before Him, not just look good before them. And sometimes, to teach you this, He lets them see you wrongly. He lets them think they understand the chapter, while Allah is writing a book inside you they have never read. He lets them judge the outside, while He purifies the inside. He lets them speak from distance, while He knows the nights you cried. He lets them mock your silence, while He knows your silence was the only way you stayed gentle. He lets them call you weak, while He knows how much strength it took not to respond. This is where the servant becomes hidden from the eyes of people but known to Allah, and the heart begins to taste a strange freedom, the freedom of not needing everyone to understand, the freedom of not correcting every false story, the freedom of not running after people who choose suspicion over mercy, the freedom of saying, Allah saw it, Allah knows it, Allah is enough. When that sentence becomes real, a heavy chain falls from the soul. You stop living as a prisoner of explanation. You stop waking up wondering what they think. You stop editing your life to make people comfortable. You stop shrinking your obedience to Allah because someone might judge you. You stop begging blind hearts to see your light. And slowly, your heart becomes calm, not because they finally understood you, but because you no longer need them to. This is one of the hidden signs of rising. You become less desperate to be accepted, less eager to be defended, less hungry to be praised, less afraid of being disliked. Not because you become hard, but because your heart has found a higher witness, Allah. And when Allah is your witness, you do not need to collapse every time people misread your page. Let them misread. Let them misunderstand. Let them think your silence means defeat. Let them think your distance means pride. Let them think your calmness means weakness. Let them think they know why you changed. Allah knows the real reason. Allah knows what you survived. Allah knows what you never said. Allah knows what you gave. Allah knows what they did. Allah knows the moment your heart almost broke and still chose patience. And if Allah knows, then your truth is safe. Maybe not today in front of people, maybe not tomorrow in public, but safe with the one who never loses any hidden deed. So do not rush. Do not dirty your tongue trying to clean your name. Do not lose your character trying to prove your character. Do not become cruel trying to prove you were hurt. Do not become loud just because they were unfair. Sometimes the strongest answer is not a speech. It is a clean heart. A heart that says, I leave my matter to Allah. A heart that says, I will not let their blindness make me blind. A heart that says, I will not let their words pull me away from my Lord. This is how Allah kills your need for approval, not by making people praise you, but by making you peaceful without their praise, not by making everyone understand you, but by making you stable when they do not by protecting your image from every tongue, but by protecting your heart from becoming a slave to those tongues. And when that happens, you begin to rise, quietly, deeply, truly, because the soul that no longer begs to be understood by everyone becomes free enough to be guided by Allah alone. So if they misread you, stay with Allah. If they judge you, stay with Allah. If they twist your silence, stay with Allah. If they leave with the wrong story, stay with Allah. Because the one who is truly raising you is not waiting for their permission, and the rank Allah prepares for you cannot be blocked by people who never understood your journey. Lesson 5. The pain you keep secret is the place Allah is purifying you. There is a kind of pain people can see, and there is a kind of pain only Allah knows. The pain people see is easy to explain: a loss, a betrayal, a failure, a closed door, a sickness, a broken relationship. People can look at it and say, yes, this person is suffering, but there is another pain, a hidden pain, a pain you carry behind your smile, a pain you do not post, a pain you do not explain, a pain you cannot put into simple words because even you do not fully understand what it has done to your heart. This is the pain that follows you into the night. This is the pain that wakes up when the room becomes quiet. This is the pain that makes you stare at the ceiling and ask, Allah, why is this still inside me? And sometimes, my dear listener, that secret pain is not just a wound. It is the exact place Allah is purifying you. Many people think purification comes only through peace, but sometimes purification comes through pressure. Sometimes Allah cleans the heart by allowing the hidden wound to rise again and again until the servant finally brings it fully to Him, not to people, not to revenge, not to distraction, not to pride, to Him, because there are wounds you can hide from people, but you cannot hide them from Allah. There are tears you can wipe before morning, but Allah saw them before they fell. There are words you never said, but Allah heard them inside your chest. There are moments you acted strong, but Allah knew your soul was shaking, and this is why your secret pain is sacred, not because pain itself is beautiful, but because Allah can use it to remove what nothing else could remove. Sometimes pain exposes what comfort kept hidden. Comfort can hide pride. Comfort can hide attachment. Comfort can hide arrogance. Comfort can hide the weakness of faith. Comfort can make a person think, I am patient, I am sincere, I am strong, I trust Allah. But pain reveals the truth. Pain shows where your heart is still tied. Pain shows what you fear losing most. Pain shows what you worship secretly. Pain shows whose opinion still controls you. Pain shows what you still cannot surrender. And when Allah wants to raise a soul, He does not leave these hidden chains untouched. He brings them to the surface. This is why the same wound may keep returning, not because Allah wants to hurt you again, but because there is still something inside that wound He wants to heal. Maybe someone rejected you years ago, but the real wound is not only that they left, The deeper wound is that you began to believe you were not worthy. Maybe someone betrayed you, but the real wound is not only that they lied. The deeper wound is that you lost trust in Allah's protection. Maybe people ignored you, but the real wound is not only that they did not see you. The deeper wound is that you began needing people to see you more than you needed Allah to be pleased with you. Maybe someone humiliated you, but the real wound is not only their words. The deeper wound is that your heart became chained to proving them wrong. So Allah touches the wound. He lets it ache. He lets it speak. He lets it show you what is still inside. And you may say, why is this pain still here? Because Allah is not only healing what happened, He is purifying what happened left behind. This is a hidden mercy. A wound is not dangerous only because it hurts. A wound becomes dangerous when it secretly shapes your character, when pain makes you harsh, when betrayal makes you suspicious of everyone, when rejection makes you beg for love, when humiliation makes you hungry for status, when abandonment makes you cling to people who harm you, when injustice makes revenge feel like your only peace. This is why Allah does not only remove the person who hurt you, He removes the poison their wound left inside you. And that process can feel very deep, because sometimes you have already moved on from the person, but not from the effect. You no longer want them back, but you still fear being left again. You no longer speak to them, but their words still echo inside you. You no longer stand in that old place, but your heart still reacts like it is trapped there. This is where purification begins. Allah brings you face to face with the part of you that still bleeds, not to shame you, not to break you, but to free you. Because a Wali cannot carry unhealed poison and call it wisdom. A servant being raised by Allah cannot let old wounds become his hidden religion. He cannot worship pain. He cannot obey fear. He cannot let bitterness become his personality. He cannot let betrayal become his excuse to stop being merciful. He cannot let rejection become his reason to chase every human heart. Allah wants to raise him clean, not perfect, clean. There is a difference. Perfect means you never struggle. Clean means when you struggle, you return to Allah. Perfect means you never feel pain. Clean means pain does not make you betray your soul. Perfect means nothing hurts you. Clean means even when something hurts you, you do not let it turn you into what harmed you. This is the work Allah does inside the secret wound. He teaches you to cry without despair. He teaches you to remember without hatred. He teaches you to forgive without becoming foolish. He teaches you to walk away without arrogance. He teaches you to feel pain without losing faith. He teaches you to be wounded without becoming a wound to others. This is not easy. This is why hidden purification is one of the hardest stages, because no one claps for it. No one says, "Look how much this person is fighting inside." People only see your quiet face. They do not see the war you are winning in your chest. They do not see how many times you wanted to reply with anger but swallowed the fire. They do not see how many times you wanted to give up but still prayed. They do not see how many times you almost became bitter but asked Allah to keep your heart soft. They do not see how many times you missed someone who harmed you and still chose not to return. They do not see how many times you wanted revenge but chose silence because you feared Allah more than your ego. But Allah sees all of it. Allah sees the unseen battles. Allah sees the secret resistance. Allah sees the quiet victory that no one else understands, and sometimes the quiet victory is greater than the public achievement. A person may build a name in the world and still be defeated by his own anger. A person may speak beautiful words and still be a prisoner of jealousy. A person may look strong outside and still collapse when his ego is touched. But the one who sits with his secret pain and keeps returning to Allah is being trained in a rare way. He is being taught mastery over himself, and the soul that can master itself can be trusted with more light. My dear listener, do not hate the secret pain too quickly. Ask what Allah is showing you through it. Is he showing you that you still need people to validate you? Is he showing you that your heart is still afraid of being alone? Is he showing you that you still confuse attachment with love? Is he showing you that you still want revenge more than healing? Is he showing you that you still carry pride in the name of self-respect? Is he showing you that you still run to distractions instead of running to him? This is not to condemn you, this is to awaken you, because the wound you keep secret may be the door through which Allah is calling you closer. Sometimes Allah allows the pain to remain until you stop asking only for the situation to change and start asking for your heart to change. At first, you pray, Allah, remove this pain. Later you pray, Allah, purify me through this pain. At first, you pray, Allah, make them understand me. Later, you pray, Allah, make me free from needing them to understand. At first, you pray, Allah, give me what I lost. Later, you pray, Allah, give me yourself, and do not let anything own my heart besides you. This is when the wound begins to turn into light, not because the memory disappears, but because the memory no longer controls you, not because the past never happened, but because the past no longer leads you, not because people apologized, but because Allah healed the place their apology could never reach. There are some wounds no human apology can fully close, even if they return, even if they cry, even if they explain, even if they say they are sorry. The deepest healing still comes from Allah, because the wound was in the heart, and only the maker of the heart can enter it completely. People can touch your hand, people can hear your words, people can see your tears, but Allah knows the exact place where your soul became tired. He knows the exact moment your trust broke. He knows the exact sentence that stayed in your mind. He knows the exact fear that grew after they left. He knows the exact night you changed. So take the wound to the one who knows its full story. Do not keep presenting your pain to people who only know one page. Do not keep begging careless hearts to handle something sacred. Do not keep reopening your wound for people who only want curiosity, not compassion. Some pain must be spoken only to Allah until He sends the right healing, because when a wound is sacred, not every ear deserves to hear it. When Allah is purifying you, not every person deserves access to the process. Sometimes the reason you cannot explain your pain is because Allah does not want everyone inside that room. Some rooms of the soul are only for Allah, and in that hidden room, He teaches you what public life could never teach. He teaches you how weak you are without Him. He teaches you how strong you become through Him. He teaches you that the people who hurt you were never in control of your destiny. He teaches you that the wound did not end your story. He teaches you that what broke your heart can become the place where your heart finally turns fully toward Him. This is why the friends of Allah often carry deep hidden histories, not because they are cursed, but because Allah trained them through what others could not see. Their mercy came from pain, their wisdom came from silence, their patience came from waiting, their softness came from being broken without becoming cruel, their light came from nights when they had no light except Allah. So if you carry a secret pain, do not think it means you are far from Allah. Sometimes the pain you hide from people is the place where Allah meets you most deeply. Sometimes the wound you are ashamed of is the very place He is washing. Sometimes the ache you cannot explain is the sound of an old chain breaking. Sometimes the tears you think are weakness are actually the water Allah is using to grow something hidden inside you. But you must not waste the pain. Do not let it become hatred. Do not let it become pride. Do not let it become a permanent excuse. Do not let it become a reason to harm others. Do not let it become your identity. Let it become your prayer. Let it become your surrender. Let it become your return. Let it become the place where you say, Allah, I cannot carry this without you. That sentence is powerful, because the moment a servant admits his weakness before Allah, the door of strength begins to open. Not the strength of the ego, the strength of trust, the strength of patience, the strength of mercy, the strength of a heart that has been hurt but still refuses to become dark. This is the mark of hidden purification, when pain touches you, but it does not own you, when people hurt you, but they do not define you, when memories return, but they do not command you, when your heart breaks, but it breaks open toward Allah. And one day, by the mercy of Allah, you will look back and understand. The pain you kept secret was not ignored, it was being used. The tears you hid were not wasted, they were being counted. The wound you carried was not meaningless, it was becoming a doorway. Allah was purifying the place where you were most afraid. Allah was cleaning the place where people left poison. Allah was removing the attachment that looked like love. Allah was removing the pride that looked like strength. Allah was removing the bitterness that looked like protection. Allah was removing the despair that looked like truth. And slowly, your heart became different, softer but stronger, quieter but deeper, hurt but not hateful, alone but not empty, broken but not lost. This is how Allah raises some souls, not by giving them an easy life, but by making their deepest pain a path back to Him. So protect your secret pain. Do not worship it, do not display it for sympathy, do not bury it in distraction, bring it to Allah, again and again, until the wound becomes wisdom, until the ache becomes prayer, until the memory becomes mercy, until the place that once broke you becomes the place where Allah placed light. Because sometimes the hidden wound is not the proof that Allah left you. Sometimes it is the exact place where Allah is preparing your heart for a rank you could never reach without being purified. Lesson 6. Allah makes you walk alone until your heart fears only Him. There is a loneliness that breaks people, and there is a loneliness that Allah uses to build people. At first, both feel the same. Quiet phone, empty room, fewer people around you, no one asking how heavy your heart feels, no one noticing how much you are changing, no one truly understanding the war inside your chest. And you may ask, why has Allah left me alone? But listen carefully. Allah may remove the crowd from around you so you can finally hear the truth inside you. Because when too many voices surround the heart begins to forget the voice of guidance. People tell you who to be. Fear tells you what to avoid. Pain tells you what to protect. The ego tells you what to prove. The past tells you what you cannot become. And slowly, the servant becomes controlled by everything except Allah. So Allah begins the stage of aloneness, not to destroy you, to free you. He allows you to walk through a season where people cannot carry you the way they used to. He allows you to feel the weakness of human support. He allows you to see that even the people who love you have limits. They can listen, but they cannot heal the deepest part of you. They can advise, but they cannot guide your heart the way Allah guides it. They can hold your hand, but they cannot carry your destiny. They can comfort you, but they cannot become your Lord. This is why Allah sometimes takes His servant into solitude, because the servant must learn where true safety is. Before this stage, the heart says, as long as people are with me, I am safe. After this stage, the heart says, as long as Allah is with me, I am safe. Before this stage, the heart fears being abandoned. After this stage, the heart fears abandoning Allah. Before this stage, the heart trembles when people leave. After this stage, the heart trembles when it feels distant from Allah. This is a high change. This is not ordinary growth. This is spiritual training, because the one Allah is preparing for a higher rank cannot be ruled by fear of people. He cannot lose himself every time someone is displeased. He cannot collapse every time someone leaves. He cannot make obedience to Allah depend on who supports him. He cannot keep changing his path just to keep people comfortable. A servant who is being raised must learn to stand with Allah even when he stands alone. This does not mean he becomes proud. This does not mean he hates people. This does not mean he says, "I need no one." That is not spiritual strength. That can become arrogance. The real meaning is deeper. It means the heart stops worshipping human presence. It means you can love people without needing them to be your source. It means you can respect people without fearing them more than Allah. It means you can be kind to people without becoming a prisoner of their approval. It means if they come, you thank Allah, and if they leave, you still belong to Allah. This is the balance Allah teaches in the lonely stage. At first, loneliness may feel like rejection, but after some time, it becomes a mirror. It shows you what was hidden inside you. It shows you how much you depended on attention. It shows you how much your peace depended on replies, messages, invitations, and praise. It shows you how afraid you were of silence. It shows you how often you ran from your own heart. It shows you how quickly you filled every empty space with noise because you did not know how to sit with Allah. This is why many people cannot bear solitude, because solitude removes the mask. When no one is there to distract you, you meet yourself. You meet your fears. You meet your regrets. You meet your wounds. You meet your hidden anger. You meet your unanswered questions. And if you do not run, you also begin to meet something greater. You begin to meet your need for Allah, not as an idea, not as a sentence, not as something you heard from others, but as a living truth. You begin to say, "Allah, if you do not hold me, I cannot stand." You begin to say, "Allah, if you do not guide me, I will be lost." You begin to say, "Allah, if you do not fill this heart, every human love will still leave me empty." This is when loneliness becomes a door to prayer, a door to truth, a door to deep surrender, a door to the kind of faith that is born when no one else can reach you. My dear listener, some of your strongest prayers will not come from beautiful moments. They will come from empty moments. Moments when no one answered. Moments when no one noticed. Moments when the person you trusted became silent. Moments when the people you expected became distant. Moments when the room was quiet, but your soul was screaming. And in that moment, you turned to Allah with no performance, no decoration, no image, no mask, just need, just helplessness, just truth. That kind of prayer changes a person because it is not spoken from the lips only, it rises from the broken place, and when the broken place calls Allah, something inside the servant begins to awaken. He realizes that people were never the real support, they were means. Allah was always the source. He realizes that his fear of being alone was bigger than the loneliness itself. He realizes that some people were only powerful over him because he gave them the place that belonged to Allah. He realizes that the heart becomes weak when it fears losing creation more than it fears losing closeness to the Creator. So Allah trains him. He lets him walk alone. He lets him make decisions without the usual support. He lets him face nights where no one understands. He lets him be strong when no one is watching. He lets him keep going when no one claps. He lets him hold his character when no one rewards him. This is where the hidden servant is shaped, not in crowds, not in praise, not in being admired, but in the quiet road where only Allah knows how much strength it takes to keep walking. And one of the biggest signs of this stage is that your fear begins to change. You no longer fear losing people the same way. You no longer fear being left out the same way. You no longer fear being misunderstood the same way. You no longer fear standing alone in the truth the same way. Your greatest fear becomes different. You fear a hard heart. You fear pride. You fear hidden hypocrisy. You fear hurting someone unjustly. You fear earning Allah's displeasure. You fear becoming successful outside while empty inside. You fear having people around you while your soul is far from Allah. This is a sign that Allah is raising the direction of your heart. The heart that once feared people is learning to fear only Allah. And this fear is not terror that makes you run away from Him. It is sacred awareness that makes you run toward him. It is the fear of losing the one who never left you. It is the fear of becoming careless with the mercy that carried you. It is the fear of returning to the old darkness after Allah showed you light. This is a beautiful fear, a clean fear, a fear that protects the soul. When this fear enters the heart, loneliness no longer feels empty the same way. You may still feel pain. You may still miss people. You may still wish someone understood, but you are no longer ruled by that wish. You can sit alone and not feel worthless. You can be uninvited and not feel erased. You can lose a relationship and not lose yourself. You can walk without human applause because your heart is listening for something higher. And this is when solitude becomes strength. The world thinks strength is always loud, but sometimes strength is a servant sitting alone, refusing to return to what Allah saved him from. Sometimes strength is not sending the message. Sometimes strength is not explaining yourself to those who already chose suspicion. Sometimes strength is crying and still praying. Sometimes strength is missing someone and still obeying Allah. Sometimes strength is being alone and still not becoming bitter. That last part matters, because many people walk alone, but they become hard. They say, "I do not need anyone." They close their heart. They become cold. They call it strength, but it is only pain wearing armor. Allah does not make you walk alone so you can hate people. He makes you walk alone so you can stop fearing them. He does not isolate you so you can become cruel. He isolates you so your mercy can become clean. He does not remove people so your heart can become stone. He removes dependence so your heart can belong to him. The one Allah raises does not come out of solitude arrogant. He comes out gentler, because he knows what loneliness feels like. He knows what silence can do to a soul. He knows what it means to have no one understand. So when he meets lonely people, he does not mock them. When he meets broken people, he does not rush them. When he meets weak people, he does not crush them. His solitude becomes mercy. His loneliness becomes understanding. His private road becomes a lantern for others. This is the secret. Allah makes you walk alone, not only to free you from fear, but to teach you how to become safe for others. Because a person who has never faced loneliness may not understand the lonely. A person who has never needed Allah in the dark may speak of faith without tenderness. A person who has always been surrounded may think broken people are simply weak, but the one Allah trained alone knows better. He knows that some battles are invisible. He knows that some people are smiling with tired souls. He knows that some silence is not pride, it is survival. So if Allah has placed you on a lonely road, do not think it means you are rejected. It may mean He is teaching your heart to stop bowing before people. It may mean He is removing false fears. It may mean He is preparing you for a rank where your support must come from Him first. Do not rush back to every crowd. Do not beg every person to walk with you. Do not lower your soul just to escape silence. Some company costs more than loneliness. Some gatherings steal more peace than solitude. Some relationships make you forget Allah more than being alone ever could. Choose the road Allah is opening, even if only a few can walk it with you. And remember this, the lonely path is not lonely when Allah is near. The quiet room is not empty when Allah is remembered. The heart is not abandoned when it can still call upon its Lord. So walk, even if they do not understand. Walk. Even if they leave, walk. Even if your voice shakes, walk. Even if the road becomes narrow, walk with Allah, because the servant who learns to walk with Allah alone can never be truly defeated by people, and the day your heart fears only Him, you will understand why He allowed everyone else to lose power over you. Lesson 7. The wound that broke you becomes the mercy that marks you. There is a wound that enters a person and makes him bitter, and there is a wound that enters a person and, by the mercy of Allah, becomes light. The difference is not the wound. The difference is what the servant does with it. Some people are hurt, and they become hard. They begin to punish every new person for what an old person did. They begin to suspect every kindness. They begin to close every door. They begin to speak from pain and call it wisdom. They begin to wound others before others can wound them. They say, "This is who I am now." But that is not healing. That is pain becoming a ruler. And Allah does not raise a servant so pain can rule him. Allah raises him so even his pain becomes obedient to mercy. This is one of the most beautiful hidden stages. The wound that once broke you begins to change. At first, it was only pain. Then it became a question. Then it became a prayer. Then it became a lesson. Then, slowly, it becomes mercy. You begin to feel for people you once judged. You begin to understand tears you once ignored. You begin to notice sadness behind quiet faces. You begin to hear pain behind angry words. You begin to become gentle in places where you were once harsh, not because the wound disappeared, but because Allah purified it. Before the wound, you may have been quick to judge. You may have thought people should simply be stronger. You may have thought broken people were too emotional. You may have thought lonely people were weak. You may have thought someone's silence meant arrogance. You may have thought someone's distance meant pride. Then Allah allowed you to taste what you once misunderstood. He allowed you to be silent because you had no words. He allowed you to be distant because your soul was tired. He allowed you to be broken while still looking normal. He allowed you to cry in places no one could see, and after that, you changed. Now you do not judge so quickly. Now you do not mock hidden pain. Now you do not rush to label people. Now you understand that every soul has a story only Allah fully knows. This is how a wound becomes mercy. It teaches the heart what lectures cannot teach. It gives the servant eyes that see deeper, not the eyes of suspicion, the eyes of compassion. A person marked by mercy does not excuse evil, but he understands weakness. He does not call sin good, but he does not close the door of return. He does not flatter people, but he does not crush them. He knows that hearts are fragile. He knows that one sentence can break someone who was already holding too much. He knows that one act of kindness can save someone from falling deeper into despair. Why does he know this? Because he has been there. He knows what a kind word would have meant when he was breaking. He knows what mercy would have meant when he was ashamed. He knows what patience would have meant when he was confused. He knows what a gentle heart would have meant when he was surrounded by harsh people. So Allah uses his wound to make him different. Not weak, different, more careful, more present, more sincere, more aware that people are not always what they show. This is a hidden mark of spiritual elevation. The pain does not make you cruel, it makes you merciful. The betrayal does not make you deceptive, it makes you loyal to truth. The loneliness does not make you cold, it makes you gentle with the lonely. The misunderstanding does not make you arrogant, it makes you slower to misunderstand others. The breaking does not make you dark, it makes you softer before Allah and kinder with creation. This is not natural to the ego. The ego wants to say, "I suffered, so now I will protect myself by becoming hard." But the soul being raised says, "I suffered, so now I know why mercy matters." This is a great difference, and it is not easy. Because when you are hurt, mercy feels unfair. You may say, "Why should I become gentle when they were harsh?" You may say, "Why should I stay clean when they were dirty?" You may say, "Why should I forgive when they never cared?" You may say, "Why should I keep my heart soft when softness made me suffer?" But listen carefully. Your softness did not destroy you. Their misuse of your softness hurt you. Your mercy was not the problem. Their lack of fear of Allah was the problem. Do not let people who did not value your heart convince you to bury the heart Allah gave you. Do not become ugly because they were ugly. Do not become cruel because they were cruel. Do not become faithless because they were careless. Do not let their darkness decide your character. Allah may have allowed the wound, but He does not want the wound to become your identity. He wants it to become a doorway to mercy. But mercy does not mean you return to every person who harmed you. Mercy does not mean you remove every boundary. Mercy does not mean you allow people to keep breaking your heart. Mercy does not mean you pretend nothing happened. That is not wisdom. Mercy means your heart does not become poisoned. Mercy means you can pray for someone without giving them access to destroy you again. Mercy means you can forgive without becoming foolish. Mercy means you can remember the lesson without living in hatred. Mercy means you do not allow pain to turn you into a source of pain for others. This is the balance of the raised soul. A clean heart with clear boundaries, a soft spirit with strong obedience, a forgiving nature with wisdom, a merciful soul that still knows when to walk away. This is rare, because many people become either too hard or too open. Too hard, and they trust no one. Too open, and they allow everyone to harm them. But Allah teaches His close servants a middle way. Be merciful, but not blind. Be gentle, but not weak. Be forgiving, but not foolish. Be kind, but not available to every harmful hand. And when you learn this, the wound becomes wisdom. The pain becomes a teacher. The scar becomes a reminder. Not a reminder that says, fear everyone, but a reminder that says, stay with Allah, trust Allah, let Allah guide who enters your life. My dear listener, the wound that broke you may one day become the reason someone else does not break. Your story may become the sentence that saves a heart. Your patience may become proof that healing is possible. Your mercy may become shade for a person standing in the same heat you once stood in. You may one day speak to someone who is carrying the same pain you carried, and because you survived it with Allah, your words will not be empty, they will carry weight. Not because you read them somewhere, but because you lived them. There is a kind of knowledge that comes from books, and there is a kind of knowing that comes from being burned and still returning to Allah. This second kind of knowing is heavy. It does not make you loud, it makes you deep. It does not make you show off, it makes you careful. It does not make you proud, it makes you grateful that Allah did not leave you inside the fire. This is why some people carry a strange calmness. You cannot explain it. They have suffered, but they are not bitter. They have lost, but they are not empty. They have been hurt, but they still speak with mercy. They have been misunderstood, but they still give others a chance to be understood. They have cried in private, but they still smile with gentleness. These people have been touched by a hidden training. Allah did not only heal them, He changed the meaning of their pain. What was once a wound became a mark, not a mark of superiority, a mark of mercy. You can feel it in the way they listen. You can feel it in the way they do not rush to judge. You can feel it in the way they speak truth without trying to destroy. You can feel it in the way they are careful with weak hearts. You can feel it in the way they make you remember Allah without forcing themselves upon you. This is the beauty of a purified wound. It becomes quiet light, and this is why the one Allah raises must not waste His suffering. If Allah allowed you to feel deep pain, ask Him to make it useful. Ask Him to remove bitterness from it. Ask Him to remove pride from it. Ask Him to remove the desire for revenge from it. Ask Him to remove the hidden belief that you are better because you suffered. That last one is important. Pain can make a person humble, but pain can also make a person proud. Some people begin to think, no one has suffered like me. They begin to use their wound as a throne. They begin to demand that everyone treat them according to their pain. They begin to excuse every bad action by saying, you do not know what I have been through. This is not healing. This is the ego hiding inside suffering. Allah does not purify the wound so you can worship it. He purifies it so you can be free from it. Your pain is part of your story, but it is not your Lord. Your wound shaped you, but it must not control you. Your scar reminds you, but it must not command you. Only Allah has that place. When the wound becomes mercy, you stop needing it to define you. You can speak of it without bleeding everywhere. You can remember it without becoming angry all over again. You can use it to help others without making yourself the center. You can say, Allah carried me through this, instead of saying, look how strong I am. That is the sign of purification. The pain points back to Allah, not to the ego, not to the past, not to the person who hurt you, to Allah. And when pain begins to point back to Allah, it becomes light, it becomes a path, it becomes a trust. This is why some of the most merciful people are those who were once deeply wounded but refused to become cruel. They chose Allah over bitterness. They chose prayer over revenge. They chose healing over performance. They chose wisdom over reaction. They chose a clean heart over a loud victory. And perhaps this is what Allah is doing with you. Perhaps the wound you thought would only break you is being turned into a mercy you have not yet understood. Perhaps the pain that made you feel weak is teaching you how to become safe for others. Perhaps the betrayal that made you cry is teaching you loyalty to Allah. Perhaps the loneliness that made you feel forgotten is teaching you how to notice the forgotten. Perhaps the rejection that made you feel small is teaching you never to make another soul feel worthless. Perhaps Allah is not only healing you, perhaps He is making you into someone whose presence heals. But this only happens if you keep the wound with Allah, not with hatred, not with revenge, not with pride, not with endless self-pity, with Allah. Bring it to Him, ask Him to clean it, ask Him to use it, ask Him to make it mercy, ask Him to make you gentle without making you weak, ask Him to make you strong without making you hard, ask Him to make you wise without making you suspicious of everyone. Ask Him to make your pain a door, not a prison, because the raised soul is not the one who was never wounded. It is the one whose wounds did not steal His mercy. It is the one who was broken, but still chose Allah. It is the one who was hurt, but still protected His character. It is the one who suffered, but did not let suffering become his master. It is the one who can look at another broken person and say, not with pride, but with compassion, I know something of this road, and Allah is still near. That is a hidden mark. That is a rare light. That is mercy born from pain. And when Allah places that mercy in a servant, the wound no longer remains only a memory of what hurt him. It becomes a sign of what Allah transformed. The place that once bled becomes the place that carries light. The pain that once silenced him becomes the wisdom that speaks gently. The breaking that once felt like an ending becomes the mercy that marks him, and perhaps this is one of the reasons Allah allowed it, not to destroy you, but to make you a heart that can carry mercy without pretending, a heart that knows pain but chooses Allah, a heart that was wounded but not poisoned, a heart that was broken but not emptied of love, a heart that became softer, deeper, and more awake, a heart that now carries a hidden mark, the mark of mercy. O Allah, hide us from pride and raise us with sincerity. Purify our hearts from the need for praise, approval, and attention. Remove from us what pulls us away from you. Make our loneliness a door to your nearness. Make our wounds a path to mercy. Make our silence full of patience and our hearts full of trust. O Allah, if you raise us, keep us humble. If you test us, keep us firm. And if you hide us, let us remember that you still see us. Ameen.